Borrowed intensity makes you feel alive for moments. Real intensity makes you unable to waste your life. Borrowed intensity makes you feel alive for moments. This is flash. It is fire you did not light. It is borrowed fuel, like a candle you stole from someone else's house. Think about it. Porn makes your body react, but you are watching, not moving. IPL makes your nervous system spike, but the game is elsewhere, not in your hands. Music, hustle narratives, social media hype all give you chemicals, not clarity. They make you feel alive because your nervous system is tricked. But the moment ends, the spike fades, you are left empty, restless, searching for the next hit. This is borrowed intensity. It is temporary. It is a substitute for attention. You think you are alive, but you are merely on someone else's wave. Real intensity makes you unable to waste your life. Now contrast this. Real intensity is your own fire. It comes from seeing clearly, understanding deeply, standing firmly in one psychological location. When it rises, there is no choice to waste your life. You do not negotiate, you do not scroll, you do not delay, you cannot stand still because your attention is undivided. It is not flashy, it does not spike your dopamine artificially. It is quiet, inevitable, continuous. And here is the mic drop. Borrowed intensity can excite you. Real intensity owns you. With borrowed intensity, you feel alive for moments. With real intensity, life itself cannot escape your grasp. The difference in practice. Borrowed intensity, you chase stimulation. Real intensity, stimulation chases you. One asks, how do I feel alive? The other asks, how do I stop wasting this life? Borrowed intensity is a flash in the pan. Real intensity is a life in your hands. When I say borrowed intensity, I mean this. You are not alive in the moment. You are plugged into a substitute power source. Let me say it cleanly. Borrowed intensity is not yours. It does not arise from silence. It does not arise from clarity. It does not arise from necessity. It is taken from something external and used to feel real. Examples: music blasting to feel driven, gym aggression to feel powerful, hustle narratives to feel purposeful, social comparison to feel urgent, pain, heartbreak, anger to feel depth, deadlines to feel alive. Remove the stimulus, the intensity collapses. That is how you know it was borrowed. Borrowed intensity is noisy. It needs reinforcement. It needs reminders. It needs validation. It needs more. So the mind keeps asking, what's next? Am I progressing? Am I behind? How do I sustain this? True intensity does not ask these questions. Borrowed intensity is performative. You are not doing the work. You are watching yourself do the work. There is a narrator in your head. I am disciplined now. I am becoming someone. This is my face. That narration is proof that intensity is artificial. Real intensity has no commentary. Borrowed intensity always leads to fragmentation. Because it is not rooted in truth, it must be propped up by routines, systems, metrics, identities, streaks, personas. So when one prop shakes, the whole structure trembles. That's why people burn out, not from effort, from inauthentic fuel. What is real intensity then? Real intensity is quiet. It does not feel dramatic. It does not feel heroic. It does not feel visible. It feels inevitable. You do the thing because not doing it is inconceivable. No hype, no self-talk, no self-image, just movement. Real intensity cannot be borrowed. It comes from seeing something clearly, understanding something deeply, removing internal conflict, standing in one psychological location. When the mind is not divided, energy does not leak, and what remains feels like intensity, but it is actually undiluted attention. This is the trap most serious people fall into. They confuse adrenaline for clarity, obsession for depth, suffering for meaning, discipline for truth, and so they keep charging themselves instead of removing the plug. One final line. Borrowed intensity asks, how do I keep this going? Real intensity never asks. It has no opposite. Porn is borrowed intensity in its purest form. Not because it is bad, not because of morality, because it gives instant artificial aliveness without any internal movement. No coating, no risk, no presence, no patience. Just neurochemical fire on demand. The body reacts, the mind watches, nothing in you moves forward. That surge you feel is not desire, it is borrowed vitality. Remove the screen and the intensity vanishes. That is the test. Sports, including IPL, can also be borrowed intensity. But this is where people get confused. Cricket itself is not the issue. Competition is not the issue. Enjoyment is not the issue. The psychological relationship is the issue. When your nervous system spikes with every boundary, your mood rises and falls with the team, your evening feels alive only because a match is on, silence feels empty without stimulation, then yes, you are feeding on second-hand urgency. You are experiencing intensity without participation. Here is the core distinction: participation versus substitution. Playing cricket, participation. Training your body, participation. Creating something, participation. Watching others win, substitution. Watching others desire, substitution. Watching others struggle, substitution. Substitution feels like living, but it is outsourced life force. Why the mind loves borrowed intensity? Because silence exposes fragmentation. When stimulation stops, you feel restlessness, mild anxiety, meaninglessness. What now? So the mind reaches for porn, sports, reels, outrage, fantasy, nostalgia, not for pleasure, but to avoid being alone with itself. Important nuance, this matters. Borrowed intensity is not about never watching sports or never feeling arousal. It is about dependence. Ask yourself one question: when this is removed, do I feel less alive? If the answer is yes, you are borrowing. What happens when you stop borrowing? At first, life feels flat. Days feel quiet. Evenings feel long. This is not loss. This is withdrawal from noise. Under that flatness is something most people never stay long enough to meet: self-generated attention. When that awakens, you no longer need spikes. You move, you act, you create, not dramatically, not loudly, but continuously. One final line: borrowed intensity makes you feel alive for moments. Real intensity makes you unable to waste your life. Borrowed intensity versus real intensity. Borrowed intensity is borrowed life. It comes from external sources: porn, sports, music, social validation, hype, adrenaline, anger, heartbreak. It makes you feel alive for moments. Remove the stimulus, the intensity collapses. It is performative, noisy, temporary, and dependent. Real intensity is self-generated life. It comes from clarity, understanding, presence, and one psychological location. It does not spike artificially. It does not seek validation. It makes you unable to waste your life. Movement becomes inevitable. It is quiet, continuous, inevitable, and unshakable. The mind loves borrowed intensity because silence exposes its fragmentation. Restlessness, boredom, or emptiness drive the search for external stimulation. Most people mistake this for drive, purpose, or urgency. Participation versus substitution. Participation, playing, creating, acting. Intensity is yours. Substitution, watching, consuming, reacting. Intensity is borrowed. Key question to identify borrowed intensity: when this is removed, do I feel less alive? Yes, borrowed. No, real internal. Borrowed intensity excites temporarily. Real intensity owns you forever. Borrowed intensity makes you feel alive for moments. Real intensity makes you unable to waste your life.